Chosen ones. Listen closely, for the atmospheric grid is no longer holding the charge. The first full moon of February is about to pull the latch on a portal under extreme pressure. Be prepared. You are about to witness something that defies all previous lunar patterns. This isn't just another moon, it is a cosmic ignition point. If you are even remotely tapped into the frequency, you can already feel the static in your blood. This one moon is going to dictate the structural integrity of your entire month. For the masses, February has always been a pause, a cold grey void where energy stays flat and spirit stays slow. Not this time. This full moon shatters that illusion. It does not fit the pattern, it destroys it. Think of this month as a portal under immense pressure, and this moon is the hand that finally pulls the latch. The energy isn't soft, it isn't subtle, it is disruptive, in the way all true transformations must be. But before I reveal the lineup of eclipses and alignments that this moon is currently charging, you must seal your connection. Like this video right now to signal to the primordial current that you are ready for the spark. In the comments below, I want you to type the code IGNITION 2026 to anchor your energetic signature. Type Ignition 2026 to declare to the architect, I am no longer in the void. I am the fire. I am ready for the portal to open. Subscribe the holy days and activate the bell, for as February ignites, this transmission is your only atmospheric radar. This isn't a transition, it's a detonation. The shattered pattern. The quiet February you once knew is dead. The charge. This moon is activating a sequence of eclipses and planetary waves that haven't hit this hard in months. The latch. The portal is opening and the pressure is about to be released. You are being prepared for something bigger. This moon is the starting gun for a race you've been training for your entire life. The pattern is broken. The latch is pulled. Your ignition starts now. Chosen ones. For a moon named after the dead of winter, the snow moon has a strange, calculated habit of resurrecting the parts of your being that haven't felt a pulse in years. This lunar cycle isn't just a phase, it is flipping the standard matrix script entirely. While the masses sink into heaviness and emotional hibernation, this moon is retrieving sparks of joy you didn't even realize you'd misplaced. This isn't a fleeting emotion, it is the kind of joy that feels like a cellular memory. Simple moments, small delights, the quiet things that once allowed you to feel human in the highest sense of the word. But here is the metaphysical twist. This is not regression. This is not you slipping backward into a state of childish naivety. In reality, it is a form of subtle rebellion. As denizens of this realm, we are conditioned into a state of perpetual seriousness, grey responsibility, and emotional monotony. But this moon is reintroducing laughter, curiosity, and raw spontaneity, as if they are clandestine tools you forgot you owned. Understand this. Joy is not immaturity. It is an intelligence that refuses to die. In the coming days, you will feel an undeniable impulse to do things you haven't touched in an eternity. Walking without a destination, creating with no purpose other than the visceral sensation of being alive. These impulses are not random glitches in your system. They are a divine reminder that joy is not a luxury. Joy is fuel. This full moon treats your delight like a strategy, the exact maneuver your soul has been waiting to execute. The alchemy of this snow moon makes lightness feel powerful and intentional. For the first time in an age, you may feel like the universe is finally inviting you back into a world of vibrant color. This is the exact coordinate where February stops being symbolic and starts becoming undeniably real. Under the influence of this powerful full moon, a peculiar phenomenon begins to unfold. Decisions that shape your future seem to materialize externally, almost as if they aren't entirely sourced from your conscious will. Yet, with uncanny precision, these shifts guide you exactly to the destination you needed to reach. It is the strange, momentary relief of feeling life move first, and your role is simply to follow its elegant momentum. A crucial door swings shut just moments before you decide to close it yourself. A vital opportunity presents itself before you even formally draft the intention to search. Paths that were previously choked with obstacles spontaneously clear, requiring no desperate push or agonizing effort from your side. Initially, this lack of agency can be profoundly unsettling. It feels as if the universe has temporarily seized the steering wheel, perhaps even hijacking your established sense of control. But delve deeper, and you find a layer of profound calm, a quiet certainty that things are finally, gratefully shifting without the exhausting requirement of relentless struggle. Life often exerts its own force when we have become too comfortable, too deeply entrenched in the habit of standing still. This unchosen choice effect permeates every level of existence, from the most minor daily habits to the most significant, life-altering turning points. You might find yourself reaching a long-avoided conclusion about a relationship or career, and feel an unexpected sense of peace about it. A sudden move, long considered impossible, feels simultaneously impulsive and profoundly overdue. You release a long-held attachment, something you were certain you would cling to forever, and the detachment feels organic and easy, not painfully earned. This is not a loss of control, it is absolute alignment, a cosmic force overriding months, perhaps years, of self-imposed hesitation. There will be a pivotal moment this month when the truth crystallizes. The direction you are being undeniably pulled toward is the exact direction your truest self has been secretly yearning for all along. You are simply too afraid or too conditioned to admit it. And once this deep, authentic momentum begins, February proves itself relentless. The energy will only intensify from here. Immediately following this full moon, February sheds its traditional identity as the slow, icy month of hibernation and transforms into a powerful current, the metaphor of a long-closed road finally, thrillingly clearing after years of frustrating construction. Individuals who have been locked in interminable delays, complex emotional quagmires, or agonizing situational limbo will abruptly recognize a fundamental change in tempo. Matters that felt completely immovable, stuck points in careers, finances, or relationships, begin to move, not with strenuous forced labor, but with surprising, fluid ease. Critical conversations open effortlessly. Plans that have been suspended in bureaucratic or emotional limbo for months suddenly find their perfect landing spot. Answers to persistent questions materialize without the usual precursor of exhausting, circular overthinking. This is the kind of seismic shift where life stops dragging its feet against you and finally begins to match your optimal pace. February becomes a sequential string of green lights. This isn't because the world has become magically flawless, but because the universal, internal, and external resistance has dramatically dropped. You articulate an idea once, and it is instantly grasped. You execute a choice, and it creates ripple effects of alignment rather than imploding in complications. A small, intentional action generates returns that multiply faster than you anticipated. When you are truly on the right track, the world stops arguing with your every step. This month delivers that profound sensation, the feeling of being supported and carried rather than constantly pushing uphill against a block. Eschewing the usual spiritual mandates, the narratives of purging, intense release, harsh detoxing, or battling shadowy internal demons, this February's dominant energy feels like pure, unconditional permission. Permission to move decisively, permission to speak your truth without compromise, permission to finally act on those profound instincts you've held back, fearing that the timing was perpetually wrong. This is not a month defined by questioning every single thing. It is defined by the rewarding speed at which answers are delivered. This is a rare and comforting tone in spiritual narratives. A month that does not demand you dig deeper into old wounds or heal harder, but simply asks you to experience the tangible benefits and rewards of the dedicated self-work you have already completed. February transforms into a wide-open window where necessary momentum feels organic, inherent, and natural, not manufactured or forced. Once this new energetic signature is accepted, reverting to old patterns of crippling hesitation and doubt becomes functionally impossible. One of the most fascinating and persistent effects triggered by this full moon is the subtle but total rewiring of personal attention. This happens not by introducing new problems, but by gently redirecting focus in a way that feels strangely effortless and self-protecting. You will notice that things you once passively tolerated, the tedious repetition of certain conversations, the endless loop of surface-level stimulation, recycled empty ideas, or mind-numbing entertainment, suddenly become profoundly draining in a way that is utterly inconsistent with your past tolerance levels. This isn't simply burnout or sudden impatience. It's a quiet, deep recognition that your precious mental energy simply refuses to be spent on anything that fails to authentically nourish your soul or expand your mind. This profound shift is not characterized by harsh self-judgment or the self-congratulatory sense of becoming too spiritual for the mundane world. It is your inherent psychological system filtering ambient noise and distraction before you even consciously realize the process is underway. You do not have to force yourself to seek meaning or depth. Instead, you naturally, painlessly lose interest in anything that fails to deliver something genuinely real. When your consciousness outgrows a specific level, even the most familiar, long relied upon sources of distraction become overwhelmingly boring. This is precisely what the moon triggers: a clean, almost gentle wave of disinterest in anything emotionally hollow, derivative, or repetitive. You might catch your mind quietly zoning out during conversations that perpetually cycle without resolution. You may feel an unexpected disconnection from digital content that used to captivate you, but now feels crushingly predictable. Conversely, you will feel irresistibly pulled toward experiences that expand your inner world, even when they present in the simplest forms. A truly meaningful discussion, a fresh creative insight, a question that forces profound self-reflection, or an experience that feels deeply grounded in reality. The vital takeaway here is not that you are becoming irrevocably serious or ascetic. It is that you are becoming fundamentally more selective, without conscious trying, without planning, and without having to forcefully adopt a new mindset. This full moon marks the definitive moment where your attention ceases its desperate chase after fleeting stimulation and begins instinctively choosing true nourishment. Once your mind acclimates to this powerful new filtering mechanism, every dimension of your life will feel dramatically altered. Your relationships, your decisions, your goals, and your external reality itself. For when your focus shifts, your entire world inevitably shifts with it. One of the most overlooked yet critical effects of this February full moon is the direct, illuminating spotlight it casts upon the inherent abilities people have completely forgotten they possess. It ignores the old focus entirely, not emphasizing wounds, not dwelling on insecurities, and not rehashing the tired narrative about what still needs healing. This moon flips the emphasis completely, highlighting your quiet competencies, your razor-sharp instincts, your long unrealized talents, and the inherent structures that make you powerful without you having to struggle. This is the lunar energy that compels you to finally notice what has been quietly, steadfastly working for you all along, even during those moments where you were convinced nothing was moving forward. For many, this manifests as a dormant instinct, suddenly activating at the precise moment it is required. You respond to situations with quicker, cleaner clarity. You anticipate outcomes without the debilitating process of overthinking. You make decisions with an instinctive certainty that feels almost automatic. There is no dramatic fanfare-filled build-up, no cryptic spiritual symbolism to decode. It simply happens, and it serves as a powerful reminder of a capable self you may have shelved because life demanded continuous survival mode. Simultaneously, expect a surge in spontaneous, targeted confidence, the kind that appears precisely when you are standing at the threshold of necessity, even if you have been steeped in self-doubt for months. A conversation you have persistently avoided suddenly feels effortless to navigate. A firm boundary you are terrified to set now feels completely natural and necessary. A goal you endlessly procrastinated on begins to move forward because you finally, fundamentally, remember your own capability, not theoretically, but demonstrably in real action. This moon does not grant you new strength. It illuminates the immense strength that has been patiently dormant, waiting for the perfect window to be utilized. You are not discovering new power. You are finally remembering deeply held, old power. Furthermore, attention turns to the subtle, hidden talents. Not the dramatic, Hollywood-level gifts, but the quiet brilliance that shifts the trajectory of your everyday life once you acknowledge them. The unique way you communicate complex ideas, your inherent gift for organizing chaos, your uncanny ability to read between unspoken lines, or the distinct manner in which you spontaneously create solutions no one else can perceive. February becomes the defining month where people suddenly grasp the profound truth that they have been catastrophically underestimating themselves for years simply because they were too absorbed in the process of surviving to pause and notice the quiet, brilliant competency they were carrying. This full moon marks the beginning of a profound reconnection with the strongest, clearest, and most capable version of the self. The parts that were never truly lost, merely waiting patiently for the right light to be truly seen again. While most full moons traditionally trigger intense emotional volatility or dramatic, chaotic revelations, this particular alignment operates on a different frequency. Instead of generating friction, pulling people apart, or dragging old conflicts back to the surface, it ushers in an extraordinary wave of connection that feels unusually grounded, productive, and intentional. February is set to be a profoundly collaborative month. The kind of period where conversations align without effort, where interactions feel inherently purposeful rather than energetically draining, and where the ideal people seem to enter your orbit with nearly perfect, synchronized timing. This cooperative environment is largely due to the moon's energy softening the pervasive noise between individuals. You will find yourself understanding the motivations and perspectives of others more clearly. You speak your truth with more vulnerability, yet feel completely safe, not exposed. You become more receptive to genuine support, and others become more willing and ready to offer it. The habitual emotional static that routinely obstructs connection, misunderstandings, entrenched insecurities, and quick assumptions quiets down sufficiently for genuine human-to-human resonance to finally occur. It is a rare moment where authenticity feels like a foundational safety net instead of a radical risk. You will rapidly notice that the relationships and interactions forming during this month are far from accidental. They possess a strange, precise intentionality, almost as if they are arriving with a defined purpose you haven't quite grasped yet. Someone reaches out, and the timing feels deeply significant. Someone new appears, and the synchronous alignment feels too perfect to dismiss. Partnerships, new collaborations, or even simple, shared conversations carry unusual weight, strategic momentum, and profound clarity. When the right people converge, alignment becomes startlingly effortless. This phenomenon is not about the search for dramatic soulmates or overwhelming spiritual bonds. It is about the formation of pragmatic, necessary alliances that support the emergent version of who you are becoming, rather than tethering you to the limitations of who you used to be. People enter your life because February acts like a powerful, precise magnet, attracting the exact energetic matches required for your very next chapter. You might encounter someone whose innovative ideas instantly spark your creativity, someone who instinctively champions your vision, or someone who simply propels you forward purely by being aligned with your current trajectory. This moon transforms February into a dynamic network of meaningful encounters, not chaotic, not emotionally overwhelming, but strategic in the most organic and natural sense possible. It is a month where connection itself becomes an indispensable form of guidance, and every new interaction feels like a subtle, necessary nudge toward the elevated version of you that is emerging. February introduces a completely different internal landscape compared to the tightly wound atmosphere of January, and the full moon on the first of the month acts as the explosive catalyst for that systemic shift. January was fundamentally dominated by paralyzing mental tension, overthinking, exhaustive analyzing, attempting to rigidly predict every potential outcome, replaying scenarios ad infinitum, and striving to make the smartest choice. A process that overwhelmingly led to strategic paralysis rather than genuine clarity. It was a month defined by intellectual strategy, reflexive survival mode responses, and carefully measured small steps. But February completely inverts this entire dynamic. This month executes a profound energetic shift from the domain of the mind to the wisdom of the heart. And the transition is anything but subtle. It feels analogous to suddenly turning the volume knob of intuition all the way up, while the abrasive, nagging noise of fear and analytical doubt finally, thankfully, quiets down. Under the brilliant glow of this full moon, the process of decision-making becomes less about cold logic and calculated risk assessments and overwhelmingly more about simple, authentic alignment. You stop asking, what is the safest, most logical option? And begin asking the revolutionary question, what feels inherently true to my core? That solitary shift is world-altering. Suddenly, situations that seemed hopelessly complicated become elegantly simple. This is not because the external circumstances have miraculously changed, but because your internal emotional compass has ceased its futile attempts to shield you from life and has begun to powerfully guide you through it. Clarity is never truly found in thinking harder. It is found in listening deeper to the resonant frequencies within. This heart-led movement does not plunge February into chaos or impulsivity. Quite the opposite. It makes it infinitely freer. When you operate from genuine intuition rather than deep-seated anxiety, choices feel lighter, more instantaneous, and undeniably correct. You stop negotiating endlessly with your deepest desires. You cease running exhaustive mental circles around decisions you already intuitively know the answer to. You stop indefinitely delaying the crucial things you truly want because you fear minor missteps. Instead, February delivers a sensation of profound emotional spaciousness, a quiet sense that your inner world has finally been granted permission to breathe deeply and freely. People will find themselves acting from a place of unvarnished authenticity without the exhausting habit of second-guessing every single impulse. You speak more honestly and clearly. You follow through on ideas that excite you. You naturally gravitate toward what feels viscerally nourishing, rather than strictly adhering to what merely looks practical on paper. And the deeper you commit to choosing from the heart, the more the universe seems to respond in reciprocal cooperation. February transforms into a month where life feels cooperative instead of perpetually combative. The existential heaviness that characterized January rapidly loosens its grip, and in its expansive place arrives a warm, unshakable sense of internal permission. Permission to fully trust yourself, permission to follow the path that feels right, and permission to move definitively toward a life that truly matches the extraordinary person you are rapidly becoming, rather than the hesitant person you once were. February arrives with a rhythm entirely unlike anything we have collectively experienced in a long time. It does not tentatively creep in or politely wait for you to gather your strength or prepare yourself. It simply shows up, already moving, fully activated. It feels like the entire month itself is taking a sharp, vital inhale. For a vast number of people, this will be the first time in what feels like ages that life stops feeling suspended in a frustrating pause and starts feeling undeniably, electrically alive. The February 1st full moon does not just subtly introduce this powerful new energy, it acts as the ignition switch, activating the system almost like someone finally flipped the main breaker on a mechanism that has been idling in frustrating low power mode since the close of last year. This full moon functions as a true catalyst, the kind of force that profoundly accelerates everything it touches. Key decisions are finalized faster than expected. Opportunities that were hidden suddenly reveal themselves sooner. People finally begin to feel that irresistible forward pull again, the magnetic drive they worried they had permanently lost somewhere amid the sheer exhaustion of late 2023. Crucially, this is not the chaotic, overwhelming type of acceleration where life whizzes dangerously past you, leaving you dizzy. It is the clean, focused kind, the speed that imparts clear, reliable direction, not disorientation. Momentum truly arrives when the universe implicitly trusts you to move correctly. This moon marks the definitive moment that trust is returned, reciprocated, and reinforced. Dormant dreams, long relegated to the back shelves of the mind, begin waking up in ways that feel eerily synchronized with your present life context. You will revisit goals you previously shelved, not because they were fundamentally unrealistic, but because you were profoundly tired, overwhelmed, or simply waiting for the timing to align. And suddenly, feel a resurgence of curiosity, a sharp return of ambition, and the concrete taste of possibility. You may notice creative sparks rapidly reigniting. Ideas you desperately wanted to explore months ago are now resurfacing with stark, immediate clarity, or complex opportunities are lining up in practical patterns that make infinitely more sense now than they possibly could have before. Chosen ones. When those long dormant dreams suddenly stir from their slumber, sinking with eerie precision to your current life, when you find yourself looking at once discarded goals with a fresh hunger and a sense of infinite possibility, this is your signal to halt. It is time for a deeper, more profound contemplation. Have you wondered why those old ideas and lost opportunities are resurfacing with such blinding clarity right now? This is not a cosmic coincidence. It is a definitive signal that you have finally evolved. Your inner fortress has been reinforced, your vision has matured, and the universe is mirroring your readiness by unbolting doors that were previously sealed. Often, we are our own jailers. We don't delay because of a lack of capability, but because we are terrified of the unknown, of repeating past failures, or even more hauntingly, the fear of the massive responsibility that comes with true success. This month challenges you to stare directly into those shadows and realize they are merely echoes of a past version of you. They have no jurisdiction over your future. The fact that you are here, vibrating at this frequency and feeling these energetic shifts, reveals everything about your connection to the inner path. You are no longer watching life drift by. You are experiencing it with master-level consciousness. This presence is the bedrock of all authentic evolution. The lesson here is not to rush blindly. It is to recognize and execute based on the whispers of your intuition. The very faculty this month is amplifying to a roar. When that spark of an idea flashes, trust it. Write it down. Manifest a small action. Synchronicity only follows the brave who take the first step. We are conditioned to wait for a big break, but this month teaches us that momentum is birthed from gentle, natural movements. A soul-level conversation can shatter a glass ceiling. A single recorded thought can become your life's magnum opus. Never underestimate the power of just beginning. Each small step is a declaration of war against your old limitations. This energy is your invitation to actively construct your reality, not by fighting the world, but by flowing through it. You possess the power to shape your timeline by choosing where you anchor your focus. Trust the voice within. It is the only compass that matters. As those old dreams rise, do not ask if you can achieve them. View their return as the absolute proof that you are ready. Self-belief is not ego. It is a profound recognition of your infinite potential. Let this faith be the fuel that propels you forward with unshakable composure. This is the month of permission. Permission to feel joy, to act on raw instinct, to connect with radical authenticity, and to outgrow your previous skin. You don't need to struggle to change. You simply need to open the gates and allow the evolution to occur. This is not just the start of another month, It is the unveiling of a new epoch in your life, a chapter saturated with potential, joy, and authentic expansion. Trust the new rhythm. Trust the cosmic synchronicity, and above all, trust your extraordinary capacity to turn an awakened dream into a vivid, breathing reality. The portal is open. The script is in your hands. Create something extraordinary.